The third story is the most disturbing, because it happened in a place designed to protect you. A police station. In rural Ohio, a small town station built in the 1950s began experiencing unusual incidents in 2018. At first, it was equipment malfunctioning. Then it was doors unlocking themselves. Then it was officers hearing footsteps in empty halls. One night, a dispatcher received a 911 call that originated from inside the station. The caller whispered for help. Tracing the call led nowhere. No open line. No active phone. The next night, it happened again. Same voice. Same whisper. This time, the dispatcher recognized it. It belonged to an officer who had died in the line of duty over a decade earlier. Internal investigations found nothing wrong with the system. Then officers began seeing him, standing at the end of corridors, in reflections, on security monitors, always watching, never speaking. Until one night, during a power outage, multiple officers heard someone running through the station. They followed the sound into the evidence room. The door slammed shut behind them. Security footage later showed the hallway empty. No one entered. No one exited. Inside the room, officers reported hearing radio chatter from non-existent units. Calls for backup. Screams, then silence. When power returned, the officers were found huddled together, shaking, unable to explain what they had experienced. One resigned the next day. Another was hospitalized for acute psychosis. The station remains operational, but certain rooms are no longer used. Dispatch logs still record occasional calls from internal lines that don't exist. And sometimes, late at night, when the building is quiet, the radios crackle on their own, broadcasting a single sentence. Officer down. These are not campfire stories. These are not internet myths. These are the kinds of cases that never make the news because there's no ending that makes sense. No arrest. No explanation. Just silence, paperwork, and people who can't forget what they heard. Because when the police can't help, when the doors are locked and the lights are on and help is already coming, that's when you realize something terrifying. Some things don't break in. They wait. People like to believe that horror lives in abandoned houses, deep forests, or haunted places. But the truth is, some of the worst horror in America happened in normal neighborhoods, under streetlights, with police reports filed and neighbors asleep just a few feet away. These are stories where crimes were real, fear was real, and whatever followed didn't always feel human. This first story comes from Michigan, outside a small town near Saginaw, in 2003. The man's name, at least the name on the report, was Ethan Cross. That wasn't his real name, but it's the one investigators used to protect the family. Ethan was a 911 operator's nightmare. Not because he was violent, but because he kept calling. Every night. Always at exactly 2:11 a.m. And every time, he reported the same thing. Someone was sitting at the end of his bed. Police responded the first 3 nights. They searched the house. Checked doors, windows, closets, attic, basement. Nothing. Ethan lived alone. No history of mental illness. Stable job. No drugs. No alcohol. On the 4th night, officers stayed inside the house after clearing it. They waited with him. At 2:10 a.m., nothing happened. At 2:11 a.m., every officer in the room felt it. The air pressure dropped. Like their ears popped. The temperature fell suddenly. Ethan began shaking and whispered, "He's back." One officer reported feeling the mattress depressed near Ethan's feet. Another officer later admitted he felt fingers brush his boot. Nobody saw anything, but the indentation was there. Police escorted Ethan to a motel that night. At 2:11 a.m., the motel's front desk received a call from Ethan's room. No one was on the line. Security footage showed Ethan asleep. The next morning, Ethan was found dead in his bed and no injuries. No toxins. Cause of death listed as cardiac arrest. But the coroner privately noted something strange. Ethan's lungs were filled with fluid, as if he had drowned. There was no water in the room.